Are we live? Oh, we're live. All right. Welcome back, guys. Again, this is a pregame show, this time for the Pete Weber Missouri Classic, the first ever event named after one of the GOATs of our sport, and he actually bowled. This time he said he was bowling, and he threw his final shot in PBA regular competition. That doesn't mean he's going to stop bowling. He'll still bowl the PBA 50 and the PBA 60, but we got to watch Pete throw his final shot. You grew up in Pete's area, really, like in the state of Missouri, watching him all day.
It's funny, the first time I bowled an event, at the same event as Pete, he hated me. Casey Murphy used to back me, and I bowled a regional here when they used to have it. And Pete Weber was complaining about me, and I was like 4 pairs away.
Yeah.
And then years later, fast forward, and you know, I got the tail end to bowl with him. So it's kind of weird to see. But I mean, like you said, one of the greatest of all time to do it. You have an event named after him, as he rightfully should. I mean, I think we'll probably see more of this as guys start to retire, I would feel like. So, yeah, it's pretty awesome.
I think it's super cool, just like being able to kind of watch these guys retire over the years. From Pete Weber here, I got to see Walter throw his final shot at the World Series right after he beat me. So, yeah, he whooped me, and then the next match, I'm like, dang, he's retiring? I was hoping I would give him the hopes to get to the TV show and win again,
so
but
funny.
yeah, it was really cool. Chris Vi, we hate you. Just let
Yeah,
me
as you
know.
guys see, Chris and Darren aren't here. They had to get to Indiana a little early, so it's just me and Pac today. But nonetheless, we're on the set again,
Yeah,
which looks just super legit because we are super legit. So,
we are legit.
so let's get to talking about the show today.
Yeah, who we got?
All right, well, guys, for starters, it was a little bit different format where last week we talked about the bracket that we had, which we loved, and we said we loved the best of 7 bracket, match play head-to-head. This week, a lot different, a lot more of the truer bowling style, as some people would say, is total pins. So it was eliminator. We cut from 32 to 24 to 16 to 8,
Yeah,
and then top 5 to the
12.
show.
So
Or
it was
12,
32,
that's right.
24, 12, and then 5.
Yeah, and it was 6 games every block, so they bowled a bunch of games to get here. And so as the 1 seed, who we've seen on 3 telecasts this year
Crazy.
so far, and is the front runner for the Player of the Year, it's going to be Bill O'Neill. He was at 1163. That's a 232 average. And then in second place, we got EJ, who has been on 3 shows as well. He got to 1025. That's a 228 average. And then our lone lefty, Matt Russo, making his first telecast of the year. He was at 997 over. That's a 227 average. And then back-to-back shows for AJ Johnson. He's your 4 seed. He got to 983. He's averaging 227 as well. And then the 5 seed, Simo, doing the Simo thing. He had the front 9 the last game to sneak in by 13 pins. He got to 929. That's a 225 average. But front 9 last game after 36 games to sneak in there. I
Ridiculous.
mean, how often do you see that? The guy just, you can never count him out. So
You say how often do you see that? And I feel like from Simo we see it like
that's
all
what I'm
the time.
saying. From
It's-
him. How
yeah,
often
it's
do we see it
crazy.
from him? It's all the time he makes it happen. I feel like he wasn't even bowling that good this week. He bowled to my left, and he had the best ball reaction on the fresh, like by far. If you look at every block total from the start, he had like 550 the first 2. And then he just kind of grinded away the back. So after I saw him bowl the first 2 games of the event, I was like, Simo's going to win. And he sneaks in as the 5 seed. So that brings up my first topic is, can Simo run this ladder? Because he has, I think, the best ball reaction on the fresh, and he has the first match of the day.
I would say, I mean, obviously he can run the ladder. What are his chances to run the ladder? High.
Well, he's plus 650 in the betting world, which we talk about again, guys. As always, we're going to reiterate, we aren't betting. But he's plus 650, and he's bowling against AJ Johnson, who's plus 1100, who's a huge underdog to Simo. And then the next is Russo, who's at plus 800. So, like, I just feel like if Simo gets going, he might do it just because his ball reaction was so good on the fresh. So good on the fresh.
Yeah, if we're looking at the odds to win, it's crazy because you see Simo at 650, you see AJ at 1100, Russo at 800, and he's the 3 seed. You have Simo as the 5 seed at better odds than the 3 seed, which is insane. But it does attest to just how good he is
Yeah.
and how much he can do.
But do you think people are going to underrate the lone lefty? Because, you know, he's got the whole lane to himself, and scores are higher for these guys. You're averaging 227, so they're not super hard. So if Matt has a ball reaction, the only person in his way is himself, you know?
Yeah, I thought it definitely beneficial that Matt actually gets to be the only lefty. I thought it probably would hurt his chances because he can do whatever he wants with the lane. If Buttriff ended up making the show, or if he ended up taking that last spot and getting onto the show, even if Matt was the 2 or 1 seed, I think it would have been a lot harder, even if it was just from a mental standpoint of now Matt gets to do what he wants. He gets
His
to
own
set the lane up
process.
the way he wants, whether he wants to break it down off to the left, whether he wants to push oil down the middle of the lane. He gets to be whatever he wants to be. And that I think is a huge benefit for him, where all the other righties on the show, obviously they're going to deal with traffic, they're going to deal with transition. However, what we saw this last block was it didn't really affect much at all. The scores were high pretty much throughout. And especially that last block, I don't know if it was the way the oil pattern kept getting laid over itself, but the left side did not look easy the last block. And I'll be curious to see, with the lights on, the lanes hot, how it affects the oil pattern if the scores stay as high as they had been all week.
Well, and you know, it's funny how we look at the scores, because we've had some pretty high scoring tournaments so far this year, and we get to the telecast and it's not what we saw during qualifying.
At all,
It's just like the atmosphere, all the things that come into play that change that scoring pace. But I will say, Matt threw reactive all week. And usually, most of the times when we make telecasts, we're throwing urethane, and the urethane ball changes the pair a lot quicker, where he might be able to just move in off it and progress off it into reactive balls, and instead of pushing oil down the lane as much, he might actually create a little more spot versus the alternative when he throws urethane. So, I don't know. I could see him doing it.
Yeah, and for me personally, my best scoring block was with the urethane. However, my most consistent look, block to block, pattern to pattern, I say pattern to pattern because it changes a little bit every time they lay it down.
Always.
So block to block, pattern to pattern. I saw the reactive being the most consistent, but for me it was which reactive ball do I choose? And for Matt, he was choosing a whole lot of weaker balls, like he often does because of the ball speed. He does throw it slow. But who do you think's got the best chance? We've talked about Matt. I would pick probably Matt for me as the wild card. Maybe the guy that I think hasn't been there in a while. Of all of these guys have already made shows this year.
Yeah, they've all made multiple shows, not just one.
Yeah, so Matt being the obvious standout and the obvious wild card. However, he also would be my wild card pick because he is the lone lefty.
I would
One
agree.
for the lefties.
We need it. I would agree because, well, for one, just as the lone lefty as well, and his ball strikes here. I've hosted numerous events here, and he always bowls good here as well. And fun fact for the people that don't know, he used to use his thumb. He actually took his thumb out after the players because he didn't feel like he bowled that well, and he made the change. And I told him, without even seeing him throw a shot, I said, yeah, I think the change is for the better because you can get out of it a lot quicker. You can be more versatile with the hand versus when you have your thumb in. And he was like, you know, the change is a little weird right now. I'll get used to it. And I was like, it will be for the better. And here we are 2 weeks later because I told him that at the U.S. Open, and he's a 3 seed on the show. So I think he's real confident right now. And being a lone lefty is huge. It just is and the righties are going to know that. And, you know, that comes into play with, it's like, Simo has been known to destroy a pair. Him being the first.
Purpose.
On purpose. He does it a lot. Do you think he does that on a telecast, or he just says, let's just go bowl? Because his look is so good on the fresh. Does he try to mess up the left at all? Does he try to ruin the front part of the lane for the righties and go into a shot-making contest? I mean, because I personally think that they wouldn't do that to Matt and just like say, we'll just got to beat the lefty because they think they have a better ball reaction. But
yeah, so I think it'll be interesting to see what happens because the lefties versus righties situation, Simo's been known to mess a pair up or two, and I think we say he messes up the lane or he ruins the lane on purpose. He also does it for his own benefit.
Yeah.
He'll use a lot of surface in a part of the lane that he knows people are trying to play.
Yeah.
And he'll either say to himself, okay, I can either play further right than that and avoid it completely, or the opposite, hey, I'm going to destroy the part of the lane that they're trying to play and know that I can outstrike them from further in. Which is one of the smartest moves because he can outstrike those guys when the lanes when he creates his own pattern, essentially. Because when you throw that much surface, you're almost creating your own version of the pattern that no one else has seen yet.
Right.
And in his mind, we joke about it. It's like he can literally see the oil. It's like he can look at the lane and see the oil.
When you have as many tricks as he does, it just feels like you can just do whatever. But again, we talked about it. I talked about it the first telecast he was at, where he does the Simo thing where he tries to play a part of the lane that he probably didn't need to play. You saw it at the U.S. Open, and I said it before. I was like, the only thing that we see from Simo sometimes when he's the 1 seed is he comes out and everyone's playing 20 and he tries to play 6, and that's exactly what he did. Would he have beaten Kyle? Because Kyle was won such a good game, but I even talked to Kyle about it, and he was like, yeah, I don't know. He's like, the second I saw Simo throw a shot from right, he was like, I knew that I was going to be fine because my ball reaction was so good in. So,
and with that, he knew his ball reaction also wasn't going to change.
but I don't think that is going to apply today because Simo's the first match. So where there's only so many parks in the lane that he can play. I mean, you can't really start from 20 on the fresh all the time just because you can, but I saw his ball reaction on the fresh, and he was doing this little float trick up like 7-8.
Yeah.
And he never missed. I mean, he was literally averaging 270
And
the first 2.
I'll expect the same thing from him today.
Yeah, I would imagine so. He's going to do the same process. But so we think against AJ being the big underdog.
Chris Vi typing in the chat here. AJ was plus 800 for 18 of his games and plus 110 for his other 18.
Yeah, he popped off the back half.
Yeah, and except for the very last game.
Yeah.
I don't know if you were watching last night a little bit. I don't know if it was nerves, if it was the game plan that he was taking in. He split in that last, so he had a chance to get out of this first match to be the 2 or 3 seed.
Yeah.
He split, he fouled, so he split early, and then he went like strike 9 spare, ball change 9 spare, foul 9. So he ended up shooting. The reason that he is the 4 seed instead of the 3 seed, Matt beat him by 100 the last game. Matt shot 250.
And he only missed the 3 seed by 14.
Yeah, Matt shot 250, AJ shot 150.
Wow.
So I don't know if it was nerves, but I almost think that plays into his favor. He's probably pretty upset. He's probably going to come in today with a little chip on the shoulder. I don't know if he beats Simo, but I think if he does, he has the next best chance of, I think one of those two can win the TV show.
Yeah.
But then again, let's just talk about the top seed.
This is my front runner for Player of the Year, and if it's not mine, it should be everybody's. Bill O'Neill is bowling sick right now. He won the first major of the year. He's made 3 of the 4 telecasts. He's the 1 seed again. I whooped him at Pop and Shot this weekend. He owes me $13, by the way. I told him I'll take that out of his first place check, but I think, like we talked about it before, when you're riding that wave, it's hard to beat those guys. And these guys are all riding the wave. Like we've seen consistently, the same guys are bowling good so far this year.
Yeah.
Just like throughout, even like the top 24 of the events, a lot of the same guys are making the cuts. EJ, Simo, AJ, Bill are on multiple shows, back-to-back shows.
And it's so interesting because it's a different crew than last year.
Yeah.
Like it was the same Simo, EJ, Belmo every single show last year, it felt like.
Yeah.
And this year, it's not.
No.
You're seeing Bill get up there. Guys like, so we'll pull up Matt actually from the back, punching the 6th place finisher, Jacob, who we haven't seen a whole lot of this year or really last year, but had a good tournament. Tom Doherty, again, not a guy we've seen a lot this year, but had a great tournament. Kim Ballaby, another one, haven't seen a lot. Jason Sterner's had a great year so far.
Consistent year.
Zach Wilkins has made every cut. Christian Azcona has had a great year again. He finished like 7th or 8th in Wichita, made the cut last week as well. So, I mean, Jesper not having a great year, but we're seeing guys like Zach Wilkins, Bug Kroll, Christian Azcona, Jason Sterner make a lot of cuts this year, where last year, it's not that they didn't make a lot of cuts, but it seems like they're making cuts this year and finishing high.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's the way that the lanes are playing, the way that the lanes are developing, or whatnot. And the same thing with Bill. Bill had a good year last year, but not like this.
I mean,
he's made every show.
Yeah, he's crushing them. And you see that like the last couple of years. It's just like, they change the patterns year to year for us. We bowl on similar stuff, but they'll change kind of the, mills on them. They'll change a little bit of the length of every pattern. It's not always the same length. Like Cheetah has gone from 36 to 33 to 35. But it seems like every year we see the same group of guys have a good year throughout the year. And but right now we've seen the same guys, and I mean, I just gotta say, like, Bill's riding that wave and he's bowling good, and the better these guys bowl out here, the harder they get to beat. As simple as that. Because then you come in each week and you're like, I'm the guy to beat, and Bill is 100% the guy to beat. I don't see him losing today. I honestly don't. I don't see him losing. It's one game. Where sometimes you see guys getting their own way in a title match. Bill is way too versatile, has way too many tricks. I don't think he's going to have the wrong game plan, where I feel like most times when guys lose as a 1 seed, they make the wrong decision. Like when he bowled against Smallwood said it. I made the worst ball decision. I don't think Bill will do that. I think Bill will do the right thing. He might just get out bowled a little bit, but I think he's going to make the right decisions.
And we see here, Chris type in the chat again, watching from the sidelines today. The only show Bill has missed was a match play cut where he personally averaged 240 and just ended up losing in match play. We have another question from John Hancock. What are your guys' opinions of Belmo's latest performances, most notably all of last year and the start of this year as of late? I just think, like, he's still bowling unbelievable, and you have to realize that.
His shelf is so high for us. Like, we expect him to make every show, to lead every major, and it's just like, he did that for 5-6 years, but man, that's just so hard to do. He's still bowling so good, but
he's still bowling unbelievable. He's getting older, and it's not affecting him at all.
Yeah.
He
just doesn't lead every event.
He's not on the show this week because
he wasn't here.
He wasn't here.
Yeah.
Like, so, and the match play cut last week, he bowled really well. He just lost in match play.
Yeah.
Just one of those things. So he was up there. It's one of those things. If the format was different, would he have made the top 5? Probably.
Yeah.
I can't say definitely, but I'll say probably. He's still at the top of his game. It's just you're seeing Simo and EJ grow into what Belmo was almost. Like, so he's seeing more of the competition from those two, especially, I feel like, at least.
Oh, yeah, 100%. I mean, EJ was player of the year last year. He was player of the year last year, and I mean, yeah, there is a point where some guys are just going to kind of decline out of their peak, which Belmo's peak was insane.
And if declining out of your peak is earning what 100, I think he still was 200,000 last year, and winning a major.
Yeah, he won a major. He won TOC.
And he finished what, second to EJ last year at the U.S. Open.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, like his performance out of all of this, and like Matt just punched in. After the first 3 events, Belmo's in 7th in points.
Yeah.
So if your peak, if you're on the decline and you're bowling bad and you finish 7th in points, like, I mean, I'll take it.
Exactly.
I'll take it.
It's just like the standard we have for Belmo is just through the roof. It's just insane how high it is,
Yeah.
But you look at that now, and here we are with the Simos and the EJs, where their standard is also so high. We see them on the show every week, and it's like, okay, well, are they going to win another one? Like, we're talking about Simo running this ladder of the guy who Bill is the hottest player on planet Earth right now, and I'll say that over EJ, which EJ's making the same amount of shows, but you got to give it to Bill because he's won. And I just feel like Bill's just having that type of year to start right now. So, and we're talking about EJ running this, or Simo running this ladder, which is just crazy to think about.
Speedrock actually asked a good question. Simo continues, not even a question, Simo continues with Pete's bad boy attitude. Yeah.
And that fuels him.
And I think I talked about this a little bit. I almost think
he does it on purpose.
I almost think he does it on purpose.
Yeah.
I think sometimes he'll pick something, much like I used to think Pete would do the same thing. I think some shows where he points at people and he tells people to not take pictures of him, I don't even think that there were people, like, sometimes there were. Like someone drops a phone or a pin falls or a drink spills and you hear it because the set is so quiet. However, sometimes I think he was just doing it to get angry and to try and fuel his focus and maybe even startle the other guys. And I think Simo doesn't do it to try and mess with the other people. I think he truly just does it because he's looking for him personally, he's looking to fuel the fire. He said, okay, I'm at this level of focus right here. How do I get up here? Because when I'm up here, I can't lose.
Yeah.
At least in his mind.
I would agree. I think he just has the I don't care attitude, and he plays that well. And it's funny because people say, like, he has the bad boy rap. He also is, like, the most genuine dude at the same time, but he just has that switch where, like, he gets in those modes. And I've actually seen him way more even keel this week, where I told you I feel like he didn't bowl that great because he would average 270 the first 2, and then I'd look up and I'm like, he's still got the same plus minus score that he had after 2, and it's game 6 now. And you know, some of the racks weren't that great this week, and we know that that's something he complains about a lot, and he openly talks about on telecast. He'll complain about it. I didn't see him complain once. I saw he was in a lot better mood than I would have expected.
Somebody, I forget who it was, somebody talked to me about it, and they said it's like Simo's just hanging out this week.
Yeah.
It's not like it didn't ever look like he was trying.
Right.
Like it never looked like he was trying to bowl well. It never looked like he was like really going for the win. And then you look at him and he keeps making these cuts and he keeps climbing up the leaderboard. And then 6 games to go, he puts an absolute clinic on and becomes the 5 seed.
Exactly.
And it's just one of those things, as Chris said, super fitting for Simo to win this event.
I would
because
agree. He is the next
He is the most similar to Pete's attitude, to Pete's level of intensity. And it's not
Talent.
even like, if you got, it's crazy. Pete brings that attitude all the time.
Yeah.
But if you catch Simo like 10 minutes afterwards,
you would never
like if
know.
you catch him 10 minutes after bowling and he bowled, unless he bowled horrible, but if you catch him 10 minutes after bowling, even if it went okay, he's like the nicest guy.
Literally.
He'll chat it up with you. He'll sign an autograph. He'll give you a pointer if you ask. He's like the nicest guy. But when he is bowling, don't even look his direction. Yeah.
He's got fire in him. I've been good friends with Simo for a long time. When we were really close when I first came out here on tour, and there's been a couple times he's chirped at me a little bit, like if I walked up on him on the approach, whatever, and I'm like, come on, Simo. And then it's like that's just how he is. It's just how he is. And I think you're right. I think it fuels his fire. And some, those guys you talk about, like the Michael Jordans of the game and stuff, like. I took it personally, that famous quote by Michael Jordan. I think that's how Simo attacks like his process.
Yeah.
He does.
100%.
He takes it personally. But like this week, like I said, some of the racks were bad, and he would leave some weird 9-pin or something that wouldn't have happened if the rack was normal. And usually he'll make a comment or he'll kind of burst something out.
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
He never said anything. And then here he is, 270, front 9, sneaks into the 5 seed, and now it's like, is he the guy to beat? Early on, I think it's going to be hard for AJ and Matt to keep up with him. But I think as the lanes transition, Simo's ball reaction was not good. But then we're talking about the most versatile guy that throws a bowling ball.
I also always think to myself, and I like kind of laugh when I think this, I'm like, if you say something to Simo, or if you tell Simo, hey, Bill's running for player of the year, I just see that Michael Jordan, I took that personally meme, and I just feel like that is his mindset. It's like, man, Belmo's bowling well this year, guess what?
Yeah.
I'm about to bowl better.
Yeah.
Or EJ's bowling well this year, guess what? I'm not finishing outside the top 10.
Right.
It's like that kind of next level attitude. And as you see down below in the comment, guys, if you like this hoodie, I gave them to all the boys in the house.
I forgot to wear mine.
If you guys like this hoodie, 10% off code at thehousebowling.com. We have a link down below. All you got to do is punch in code GUESTHOUSE for 10% off your order. So
also, this is the best quality hoodie that we have, and it's not close. It is.
It's a thick boy.
It feels good. It looks good. And if you feel good and look good, you're going to feel good and look good.
And you're going to bowl good and all of that. And we'll actually have a podcast episode coming out soon. You're on it a couple times, and we had Chris Vi on it. If you guys want any of that, just let us know. Let us know. Yeah, hit that like button. So I'm gonna ask you guys, kind of like I do every week. I'm gonna punch in. Let us know who you guys think is going to win today, and I'll try and rattle it off match by match. But so for right now, match number 1
is Simo, AJ. AJ back-to-back shows, runner-up last week.
Yep.
Lost in the title match. Simo on his third show. AJ is the heavy underdog. He's the underdog of the whole entire event of the ladder. He's at 1,100, plus 1,100 for those betting odds. And Simo's at plus 650. I'm going Simo. It's my pick. He had the best ball reaction on the fresh. I stay by that. AJ had a crazy back half to get there. But Simo's ball reaction was too good on the fresh. Too good. He averaged 270. So I'm taking Simo. That's my pick for the first match.
Do you think it plays into AJ's favor that he bowled a bad game late last night, or do you think it messes with him a little bit? So late last night, we talked about it a little bit, and then for those of you just joining, the last game of the tournament last night, AJ shot 150, ended up losing the 3 seed, which means he would have gotten a bye that first match,
Yeah.
which is important. It's hard to run the ladder.
Yeah.
The higher up you finish, the easier it is to win. Maybe not statistically, but the higher up you are, the easier it is to win. So
Right.
let us know who you guys think is going to win, but do you think it plays into favor?
I think it just depends on how you're wired, and like I've said before, AJ rides his highs and lows too much, and I don't know how well he fuels the bad. Like some guys are like, it kind of like motivates them to be better, and I just don't quite know if that fuels him to be in his head, and then he's like, man, I bowled awful. I shouldn't even be bowling this first match. Now I got to bowl Simo. Simo's so hard to beat. He knows what he's bowling on the fresh. Everyone knew what he was bowling on the fresh. So I don't know if that gets in his head a little bit, and it kind of keeps him from what's at the task that's at hand to try to beat Simo to get into that next match where he felt he probably should have already been at. So I don't know. I just don't think, even regardless of the 150, I don't think that AJ's going to be able to keep up with Simo. Simo's just been there too much. His ball reaction is too good. I feel like, and not to make it sound like I'm, downplaying AJ's finish last week, but I wasn't overly impressed with his
TV
bowling on
performance?
TV. No, I feel like some other guys didn't bowl that great either to get him there. He still bowled good. Clearly, he got second place. But when we're talking about bowling against a Simo, next to bowl a Matt, to bowl EJ, to bowl a Bill, I wasn't overly impressed to say, okay, he's going to run this ladder or he's going to make a run at it, because I think he got a couple chances and he took advantage of them at the times that he did. But I just think Simo's going to shoot a high game the first game. I think he's shooting 270 the first game.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, shout out, down below. Matt behind the scenes, providing all of this content to you guys, helping us out with every step along the way. Shout out to him. And even in the background today, helping us run this thing. But you think Simo match 1 over AJ
I think Simo
brings him to Russo.
See, this one's tricky.
And you said Simo's ball reaction gets worse along the way.
Just from what I've seen, whenever I bowled next to him in qualifying, he would get all his pins in the first couple games, and then as they got tricky and he had to get into the middle part lane, there was still 46 feet of oil, and as they try to get in, you couldn't really go around it like you can usually whenever you get a little bit longer patterns. So this is going to be that wild card match to me, because Russo is the underdog still. Russo doesn't make nowhere near as many shows as like a Simo, but he's the lone lefty. He might not have to bowl quite as good because he's in his own way, and I think he could create a way better ball reaction because it's just him on that side of the lane. So I really am 50-50 on this match. I want to say Simo just because it's the easy pick, right? But Russo being the lefty, the lone lefty, I think he's at the little bit of an advantage there, honestly. I think he'll have a little bit of the advantage. I think he's got to show up still. Having a little bit of advantage, he's still got to show up because Simo is who Simo is.
Matt also does have a little bit of that it factor to him. There's something to be said, and I talked about it a little bit with BJ this week about the PBA Elite League, the PBA Elite League teams. There's something to be said about a team that all of them think they should win every match,
right.
Just from a confidence standpoint. And the Las Vegas High Rollers, including with Matt, who is often the anchor bowler of that team, he thinks he should win. He thinks every shot he throws should strike, and there's something to be said about that. As you see the guys warming up behind us now, but there's something to be said about a guy who just has that BDE, as we'll say, and you can fill in whatever that means, but he's got that energy about him.
I'm gonna take Russo. I think
taking Matt.
I
the
think,
crowd has selected Simo 74% clip, which is more than the 75% clip now, which is more than they had over AJ.
Really?
Yeah.
Obviously, I can see it going either way. I'm really 50-50, but I just kind of got that feeling. I think Matt can get on a little bit of a roll here. I don't see Bill losing, but I could see Matt snagging a title match here.
That'd be sweet.
I think we haven't really talked much about EJ. We already all know the narrative of EJ. I mean, he was Player of the Year, all that things. He's bowling sick. He's made 3 or 4 shows. That's 3 in a row now. But I just think Bill's riding the wave, and I think Matt, if he can dial in, he can use the lone lefty to his advantage. And I think scores will get a little tricky for the righties. And if Matt can sneak out of that first match, I think he has a good chance. And maybe even against Bill, just because the right might get so gross that Matt just might have the better ball reaction. Simple as that.
Oh, absolutely. So if you were to make a pick for the money, so the betting odds go, and we're not gambling here, we're not allowed to gamble. However, Simo at plus 650, AJ at plus 1100, Matt at plus 800, EJ at 255, and Bill at plus 100. Who is your pick for the money?
I'm taking Russo because
Plus
plus 800. He's
Okay.
the underdog. He's the second underdog as the 3 seed. He's the lone lefty. He might have the best ball reaction on the set. And that, I mean, plus 800 is huge numbers. So, and what pair are they bowling
I'm
on?
trying to check and see who's got good ball reaction
I
behind
can't
us
tell
here.
what pair they're bowling on. I know the center very well, and I'll say the left is very good. I typically strike a lot here, and I think if I was betting, I would take my chances at plus 800 for Russo to try to make a little bit of cash in my pocket. But obviously, I think the safe bet is Bill, because Bill's the guy to beat at the
So
end
if you
of
were
the
to
day.
pick someone to win, not for the money,
I'm still going Bill.
you're picking Bill.
I'm still going Bill, but I can see Russo doing it. I can see him doing it, but I'm going Bill. Just because he's riding that wave, and I whooped him at Pop and Shot, and he's got a chip on his shoulder now because I beat him at Pop and Shot. That's why.
And now he needs to win to give you that $13
He owes me 13
back.
bucks, so he can't pay me if he gets second. So I'm going Bill as my obvious pick.
Yeah.
I'm going Russo as the underdog pick.
Okay.
I think Simo bowls well, beats AJ. I think the Russo Simo match is going to be a good one, and I think that's going to be the tell. I think that match is the tell. If Russo beats Simo, in my prediction,
He wins.
I think he gets to the title match.
So of the EJ versus Simo matchup that we had that the fans picked, fans are actually switching up. They said Simo beats AJ, beats Matt,
Loses
Simo,
to EJ.
and then loses to EJ.
I can see if Simo gets to EJ, I agree with that because, like I said, I'm not very confident in Simo's ball reaction later on. And on the telecast, as you know, they get trickier twice as quick because of the lights, because of where guys are playing the lanes, just the atmosphere, things like that. So where Simo's ball reaction was bad game 5-6, it might be bad game 2. Just because that's what happens on the telecast out here when you get under the big lights. So I can see that. I can see the predicament, but it's either Bill or Russo for me. Russo, my underdog. But if I wanted to make some cash, I like the plus 800. I really do.
I think it would be sick to see AJ win from a position like this where he's never really
And the biggest
he's
underdog.
never won on TV yet.
Yeah.
And he's never won in the United States yet. He's the biggest underdog. He made TV.
Just had runner-up.
He made TV last week. He was the runner-up. I think he does improve on his strategy, on his mental game from last week to this week, just because he's used to it.
Yeah.
The same thing kind of happened with me last year after making the TOC. I made the step ladder the following week, and I was just used to the pressure, used to the feeling.
Yeah.
And I
You
think
get into
back to
that
back, and you get confidence, right?
For sure.
Like even with that loss, you have to have confidence that you made TV. You won a match on TV. You got to the title match, and you were probably a split in the 9th frame away from winning.
Yeah.
And Marshall just beat him.
Yeah.
Marshall threw some unbelievable shots last week to beat him. So
it was
it's
just
not like-
Marshall's week, so it's like, yeah, maybe he has a chip on his shoulder because he is like, all right, well, I got close, but it's time to finish the job here.
Absolutely.
I mean, I agree. So with Russo, I've never really bowled near Russo on tour. Yeah, it's weird how the crosses always work.
Yeah, they
but,
try and split the lefties up, which is nice, but at the same time,
I think
you
it's
only
fair.
cross next to 2 of them.
But is Russo gonna set up the pair for himself? Does he like to chalk a ball up and start further left?
So all week,
'Cause he
I
should. 100% he
I
should.
talked to him about it. He was rooming with us, and all week he actually did not.
Really? On his starting pair?
On his
Because
starting pair,
ball
he
reaction's too
was,
good.
he was also, and the last couple blocks, he was bowling with Jacob because they were both in the same position.
Right.
And when he was bowling with Jacob, they didn't set the pair up. They actually, I asked Mike, I said, hey, well, did they set the pair up? What'd they do? And he said, no, they just bowled. They
Really?
just bowled and then they moved in because the look was already there.
But it's different being on the telecast because he's got to potentially bowl three games on the same pair under the lights. So they're going to change so much quicker. It can't hurt him to make them nicer, you know?
No.
It can't hurt him. I know I would. If I was bowling now and I'm the lone lefty, I'm not throwing many shots where I'm going to start at. I'm pretty much just staying further left, and I'm going to throw reactive. I'm going to throw something with some charcoal on that. So I can get a little hook spot, and then from there you can progress him because as he's going to move in, he's going to need something to throw it to. And we don't want to see it to where he gets in too deep too early because he was hooking it with reactive, and if he starts at 15, where does he go if he doesn't break him down to the left? So if he breaks him down and can get past that first match, I think he's going to be hard to beat. It's just funny because we're lefties. I'm a little biased to like think about what's Russo's process going to be because I honestly don't know Russo that well with his bowling process. We're like, if you were bowling here, I would know your process a lot more. We talk about it a lot more often. Or I'm curious to see what Russo's going to do with this because he has the best chance to win a title on TV. Whereas right now they're throwing shots behind us, and I can see on the monitor right there. It looks like he's throwing the Pure Madness, a stronger ball from like 7-8.
Which is what he did as well, and actually what I ended up trying because I was so lost in that last couple blocks. I was trying to figure out what ball would work, what ball wouldn't, and I'm watching Jacob and Russo crush it with the Pure Madness.
Yeah.
It's a big ball. It's a slow ball. It's early. I'll be curious to see if he uses it on the set. I think if he uses it on the set, he might.
I think he's going to get into something cleaner.
Yeah, I think he will. I'm hoping he throws a little bit weaker of a ball than that. But I do think, at least for breaking the pair down purposes, that's a great start.
Well, I'll give you the inside of Enterprise Park Lanes is weak balls roll better here 9 times out of 10.
They strike more.
They do. They just strike more because the ball always gets into a roll here. Like scores are always higher here. Your ball always finds that middle of the part of the lane, always here. So you're allowed to get away with the weaker balls, and the weaker balls do strike more. And as you see the lights and stuff, the fronts usually hook more on the telecast. So those weaker balls are still going to get into a roll here. So just overall, when you're bowling on easy, hard tour event, the weaker balls roll better here. So I don't expect him to throw the strong ball once he breaks him down. I would imagine he'll get into something cleaner.
And guys, Chris would be here, Darren would be here. However, they have Pro-Am duties tonight, and it's a 7-hour drive, so they couldn't quite do the show and the Pro-Am the same day. So unfortunately, they will be joining us for the next one. However, just not this time around.
Yep.
That being said, I would like to mention we have a friend of BJ Moore who is one of our guys. His name's Zach, and Zach has had back-to-back big-time medical bills and tragedies in his family. I know you didn't hear this, but I talked with BJ probably for like an hour about it. Zach's kid, since he was born, has been in the hospital with an issue with one of his arteries. So he's been in the hospital for a year and a half. And recently, about a month ago, or I guess about 3 weeks ago now, Zach actually had his own medical problem. He's been in the ICU for 17 days. I guess it's 18 today. He's finally stepped down into the second level, a little lower level of ICU, so he is slowly recovering. However, we would like to help him out at least as much as we can with some of those bills. He is the only provider for him, his kid, his family. He runs a pro shop in the Pittsburgh area. He was one of BJ's first initial really good friends who kind of brought him in to the Pittsburgh bowling world, helped him out in the pro shop, helped him practice. So we do have a link down below. It's in the comments here as well somewhere. Shout out to BJ Moore. Reach out to BJ if you want to donate anything that's not money. He also set up a fundraiser page. We will be donating from the house.
Yes.
As well as I know a lot of the guys are going to be helping him out.
A little goes a long ways. It doesn't have to be big. Whatever you guys can.
It's one of those things I always feel if everybody donates $1, it goes a really long way, even if it's just $1.
Yeah.
And we would like to give a huge shout out. This guy right here just donated $50 to help out. Anything helps. This is a friend of the bowling world, and I think it's just something that the bowling world does so well is rally around their people.
The small community.
So if you guys do want to help out, whether it's donating a bowling ball that you've used or like us, we're going to donate some jerseys, some bowling balls for giveaways, as well as some money as well. So if you guys want to help Zach out, please do. There's a link down below in our last video. And then he also has a fundraiser page. So feel free to go out and donate to that. We will be helping him out. And yeah, I just wanted to get that in before they turn the music on and all that stuff goes around. So
Yeah, rally the troops.
he's helped BJ in the past. We like BJ. This guy's struggling,
We
and
love
he's just
BJ.
a friend of the bowling community. So yeah, help him out. We'll be helping him out.
Yeah.
So if you guys want to, great. If you don't, also great. But
Yeah.
I just thought I'd raise awareness to that little giveaway. That being said, your pick to win is Bill. Your maybe pick to win, your
always talk-
underdog pick is Matt
Yeah.
Russo.
Yep.
I would say for me, I like Bill because he's made TV so many times.
Yeah.
I think EJ is going to bowl very well and lose.
Yeah.
I think he's hungry. He's been on TV. I just think the ball reaction late enough, especially with a guy like Simon on the pair who has a chance of messing him up. AJ's not going to do anything crazy to mess him up.
Right.
But I think with what Simon might do with surface, with reaction, I think he might jack the lane up a little bit. And with that, I think EJ's going to bowl phenomenal and maybe just straight up not strike enough.
Yeah.
With that being said, Matt's a dog. I'm picking Bill to win. Matt's going to be close. I think Matt loses in the title match to Bill.
Yep.
So I think it goes Simo over AJ, Matt over Simo, Matt over EJ, Bill over Matt for the title. Which
I agree.
And I
That's
think
my
it's
same
going
ladder.
to be a good show.
I think it is too. I think
Oh,
scores are
Matt's
high
throwing the
enough.
urethane?
Yeah, so you guys you can see behind us that they're throwing shots. We can see on the monitor here in front of us where guys are throwing. I didn't see Matt throw urethane at all, and he's throwing urethane now. You got to look at it. As a lefty, you have to look at it. Also, I'm seeing Simon throw some shots from 1920
It's like an
already.
eternity pie, a big ball.
Super in. I mean, the thing is, like when you get to telecast, do you change? How much do you change your process because it feels like a whole nother tournament once you're under the lights? I mean, it just changes so much. Like
I've tried both ways. For me, the process doesn't change so much as it is the lanes on TV are almost always very different.
I meant the process in like your game plan of attack.
But I've tried it both ways. For a while, I changed it every time I made TV because they were so different. Now with the projection, it's much better than it was with the blue oil.
Yeah.
I liked the idea of the blue oil, but the blue oil always felt thicker. It always felt like my ball was hooking early. It never really felt like my ball was going to strike.
Right.
With the projection, I feel like my ball's got a much
lot
better.
closer.
It's a lot closer to what we bowled on all week.
Yeah, I agree.
So recently, it hasn't changed as much. However, a couple years back when the blue oil was, I was like, okay, well, I was throwing this urethane ball with a ton of surface,
But maybe
and
it's a
now
whole other ball
I
game.
got to try maybe a big ball
Yeah.
or something like that. So, but the lanes are so different every time you make TV versus
Not
the
even close.
week.
It's a whole nother tournament, literally.
Yeah. So the links, it's so much different on TV than it is during the week. Whether it's the lane pattern because the lights are on, the lanes are hot, the oil's hot. Whether that plays
They
into
transition
effect,
so much
the
quicker.
transition is quicker because of all that. The oil gets picked up by the ball quicker, it seems like.
Yeah.
And with that, I think your game plan has to change. You have to give looks to other things.
You gotta be open-minded.
But recently, I've said this is what got me here. This is what I'm going.
Yeah.
This is what I'm going
Live
down
or
with.
die.
I'm having no regrets. This is what got me here. This is what I'm going. Unless it's horrible. If it's horrible, I'll abort game plan. However, I'm saying this is what got me here. I'm living and dying with this.
Yeah.
This is what got me here. I don't want to walk off this TV show and say, man, if
You
only
made
I
the dumb
tried to throw my
decision.
black hammer.
Yeah.
I would have said, I tried to throw it for 4 frames. It looked like garbage, and then I had to switch.
Right.
But I tried to throw it for 4 frames. I went down swinging.
Yeah, yeah, and just like the telecast it's just literally a whole nother tournament. It's just you could have a completely different ball reaction, and as we watch guys throwing now, I mean they're open-minded to when you get to the end of the week and the guys on the telecast, they're pretty confident in any decision they're gonna make at this point. Like, you got to win a couple games to win a telecast. Oh, as we lose the whole set, a big blackout just happened.
Well, the lights are no longer on, but
But we're still
live.
we're thriving.
can you see us? Can you see us now?
Wow. The first ever blackout.
That was while they were practicing. However,
At least it happened now and not during the telecast.
what happened? We're live. We're live right now. We're still live.
We're live and alive. We're live and alive.
Who's your pick to win, Dino? Tell the mic. Who's your pick to win?
Who's your pick to win?
This is ball rep Dino Castino. I know you can't see him. Here he is. Who's your pick to win?
So now Packy and K-Dub are videoing me live as I'm videoing you guys live.
Yeah.
Who's your
the live
pick to
live.
win?
Oh,
I know you got to pick between your staffers, but who do you got to win?
I'm gonna go with Matt.
Oh,
Ah,
for
that's
the
all right.
lefties.
The
For the
lefties.
lefty.
We need it.
We need one for the left. No
We-
lefties.
Not because you two are lefty.
Well, we're
without
saying Bill or
bias,
Matt.
But without bias.
Yeah. I think it's
really
his
think
event
that-
to win.
I think Matt has a really good chance.
We,
I agree.
We picked Bill or Matt. We don't know who, but one of the two.
Okay.
All right.
And then there you have it.
The live from the blackout. You guys can't see us.
Guys, this is crazy.
This
So
is
it's-
awesome, but it's not
They're
at all.
still practicing in the dark. I don't know if you guys can hear them, but they are literally still practicing in the dark. I'm
So a whole new ball game. How do you read your ball motion in the dark, Packy?
you saw it was funny. You saw like Brett Spangler throwing. I was curious because they get a certain allotted amount of time. I think they get from 10:30 to You guys can see us because like all the there. Oh, there we go. There we go. Now you can.
better?
Yeah, you guys can still see us because you guys can still see us because we have a computer
We're
light
live?
on.
Yeah.
But the lanes are like super dark, and usually
there's
like
no
I was-
lights on right now.
Like I was saying, they have an allotted amount of time to practice. Chris said the lights were flickering yesterday at practice. Okay, I didn't see it, but that's because obviously I wasn't practicing here
Yeah.
yesterday. But yeah, I wonder how this will affect the set. Yeah, Randy.
This is brings
You guys are looking great, by the way.
We appreciate that.
a little
You don't
dark
need
in
light.
here.
You
Little-
don't need
We
any
don't
light.
need
You
it?
guys look-
Little
you guys
dark
look
in here.
awesome.
That's about it.
Wow. He said we look better in the dark. Thanks, Randy Peterson.
Yeah, wow.
We appreciate that.
What I said.
He's
You said it's
dogging
what
on
you
us.
said, Randy. We're coming for his job. He doesn't know it yet.
Oh, Chris, question. A Chris question for Chris. If you were, I'll ask this to all of us. So Chris,
Okay.
type in the chat. If you were bowling today, what ball would you be throwing? Match 1, and what ball do you think you'd be throwing the last match for the title? And I'll ask you the same question.
I think
If you had to bowl the whole time,
Yeah.
righty or lefty, what kind of ball would you throw first and last match? Because the middle matches you never know, but first match out the gate, what you throwing?
As me as Kevin Williams, the left-hander.
The left-hander.
I'm breaking them down with like a stronger ball, like a mindset, something with a lot of surface. I'm gonna just throw it as hard as I can up 3, 4, 5, create a hook spot, and then I'm gonna get into something a little more middle of the road. Something with not as much surface, but still maybe an ASIM, maybe like a Widow 3.0 that still is gonna pick up in the middle part of the lane, but it's not overly strong to where it's hooking too early. And then if I get to that title match, I might getting into like a symmetric ball, something that's cleaner, because those fronts are gonna just slowly go. And as I move in, I want a ball that's gonna come off it down lane. So big ball, get into something medium, and hopefully, honestly, I can hopefully just stay in that medium ball and I can just move in progressively and it's still strong enough that it reads as I go across the lane. And if not, get into something cleaner. Just your typical progression, honestly.
So Chris Vi said he would start with a Zen Gold label. What would you finish with? And we'll get back to that.
And the Zen Gold label is like a cleaner symmetrical from the start. So
Yeah.
he's already starting super clean. I bet he just probably progresses
So-
in and moves in off of it.
And for me, I actually tried to throw a weaker symmetrical ball from a Rhino. And then I tried to go, and I kind of went all over the place
Yeah.
when I was bowling because they all seemed to hit the pocket plenty. A couple of them split, and those I kind of trashed right away and sent right back into my bag and said, okay, not this tournament, you'll save you for later. So I threw a Rhino, I threw the Archetype Hybrid, I gave a look at an Ethos, I gave a look at a Theorem.
Yep.
And for me, the
of
Archetype
cleaner
Hybrid,
balls.
the Archetype Hybrid seemed like the right ball for early, just not enough surface.
Yeah.
And then as it got later, I wanted to throw the Theorem instead of the Archetype Hybrid. So
Little
the
cleaner.
Archetype Hybrid seemed to be the ball late, but it would have been a better option early as well if I had two of them, one with surface, one without, that would have been what I would have thrown. And creating a hook spot, like you said, I think is the right idea.
I
As
would
for
agree.
Chris Val, you guys can see down in the chat, he'd probably throw something like an Attention Star or a VBO, a Virtual Energy Blackout, if he has to move left.
Oh, that's what you guys have been saying, Vibo.
You didn't know that's what
I
that was?
just never, I never put that together at all. I was like, what is a Vibo? Now I know.
Nikki 6, has anyone been throwing the Black Widow 3.0? Yeah, we saw Bill win.
Oh, welcome back. The light is so bright. It's a bright light.
That is way brighter than it was, isn't it?
Yeah, well, we were in the dark for a minute. Our eyes got to adjust. I can't see anything now. I can't see I can't see anything.
It hurts.
The 3.0 got thrown a lot this week. That was the reactive ball that looked the best for me the last couple when I was out of it. But
2.0 hybrid or the 3.0?
The 3.0.
Wow, okay.
The 3.0 looked good. So,
I thought this was a Black Widow week.
yeah.
I saw a
lot of ghosts.
I saw a lot of ghosts. I saw a lot of 2.0s early in the blocks. And then,
'Cause those
like you
balls-
said, the 3.0 for you.
Because those balls are kind of like I said, they're those versatile middle of the road balls. They're strong enough that they hook in oil, but they're not too strong to where they bail out or there's too much surface or too early. They're right in that middle ground to where you can start and end the block with like a Widow because it's not too big a ball, it's not too weak a ball. And I think you see those balls the most as it is anyways. But and Bill has notoriously thrown Widows. He's been a hammer staffer. He's always thrown a lot of the Widows. He's thrown the Ghost a lot this week. So, I mean, yeah, I think everyone's going to have the same process once we get to the lanes.
Yeah.
For the most part.
And Chris said he actually used a Hustle RIP a lot this week as well. So he's anticipating tighter down lane on the show, which means maybe
Always.
going for a little stronger core or just a ball that he thinks is going to recover
Something that's
down
gonna
lane in that
change
oil.
direction a little more down lane.
So, and I would like to say, Ashley, we appreciate you sending
Thank you.
She sent BJ a donation via Venmo. Again, BJ has a friend that is dealing with some sickness. He's in the hospital. He needs some help covering the bills. And we just, as a bowling community, like to give as much as we can back. So again, it's
Anything
down
helps.
below in the it's down below. It's somewhere here in the comments, and as well as that, it's also down below in the description of, if not this video, our last video as well. So anything helps. Appreciate it. We're thanking you a ton, and so is everybody else. So, yeah. What ball are you throwing? We'll kind of close this up a little bit here shortly. Shout out to all 824 of you popping in.
Yes.
We've
Yes.
mentioned many things from your pick to win. You said you got Bill.
I'm going Bill.
Who's he
That's
winning
my
over?
guy. I like watching Bill win, honestly.
Who do you think he's winning over?
I think Russo.
You think
I think it's
Russo?
a Bill Russo matchup, and I can see it going either way. But I'm saying my gut's Bill. Bill's one of my favorite bets out here, so I'm going Bill. Also, I need that $13, and you can damn well guarantee that when I see him, I'm running those pockets for that $13 because I know he's got it after he wins this week.
You owe me 13. Whether it's 25,000 or 15,000, you win this week. You owe me 13.
Look, he's
Dollars.
way better of a bowler than I'll ever be, but he ain't a better pop and shot player than me, okay? So that's all I got on him. So I got to hold on to that for dear life. I also whooped Tommy Jones in pickleball this weekend, too. So I'm covering for all the bowlers and non-bowling related stuff. Bill's my guy. I'm going Bill. Bill versus Russo. Bill sneaks it out. But I can see Russo winning.
Someone asked if Russo's wearing the Ninja Turtles jersey. He is.
He
He
is.
does have the Ninja Turtle jerseys on.
He is wearing the Ninja Turtles jersey. Is that like his, is that his like alter ego when he wears those? Because he usually wears like kittens on his jerseys.
Which Ninja Turtle is him? What's the orange one?
I have no clue. Leonardo.
Is there one that
Is there even one named Leonardo?
there is? Who's the orange Ninja Turtle? Someone tell us.
We need
And then
to
we'll
know.
close this puppy down.
Do you guys think scores will be higher and lower? We can't. We're not gonna talk about the other patterns. We're talking about right now, guys. I thought it was talking about this week.
Right.
What do you think the winning score is gonna be?
Orange is Michelangelo.
I would have got it right eventually.
Raphael.
Raphael. What's the winning score gonna be? You think the score is gonna be high or low?
I think the scores are going to be high to start, low to finish. I think 223 wins.
223 Bill for the win.
223 and Bill for the win.
Knowing the center
I
as
would
well
agree
as
with
I
you as
know
well.
the
It's
center
Bill over Matt.
is, I think with having 46 feet and having that much oil in the middle part of the lane, they were trickier than I thought they would be. But these guys are striking. I think they're going to be a little high scoring. I think it's 237 Bill over 226 Russo.
Oh.
237. 237.
It's just RJ, 257 Bill over 224 Russo. I just think 220 wins.
I think 230 wins as well.
Guys, we're getting the cut. We appreciate you guys for watching.
Thank you guys for tuning
We thank
in.
you a ton. They're about to turn the music on and ruin this whole thing for us. But we got an hour to chat with you about who's going to win, our predictions. We'll catch you guys on the next one. Thanks for watching.
See you next week.
And until the next
The
one.
pre-show show.
Peace.
Yeah.